Cristiano Ronaldo do you think was the best? Some say it was his early years in Madrid.
Oh, you beauty!
Others might say it was during the three-peat. But for me, no football player in history comes close to the 07-08 version of Ronaldo.
Now Ronaldo, long way out. What a goal! Not too far out.
At 23 years old, this man was without a doubt the deadliest winger the world has ever seen, and literally no defender could stop him. But to get to this point, his story was even more impossible than it seems. As a child, he had to beg for food, sweep the streets, and was even diagnosed with a heart defect that should have ended his life before it even began. So, in order to understand how Ronaldo became the most terrifying winger in the history of the game, we have to start from the very beginning. February 5th, 1985. Cristiano Ronaldo was born on the Portuguese island of Madeira, located over 1,000 kilometers from Lisbon. He's the youngest of 4 children, but he was almost not even born at all, as his family was extremely poor and his father was an alcoholic, which caused a lot of strain on the family. So his mother wanted to have Ronaldo aborted, as she simply couldn't afford to look after him. The doctors didn't allow her to go through with it, but she still made her own attempts by drinking warm beer and running long distances. But God had a plan for Cristiano. So, just like that, the boy was born. His early years were still very tough, with his mother working as a cook and a cleaner just to make ends meet, and her children often had to join her when she was sweeping the streets, while Ronaldo's dad suffered from mental health issues. He was a former soldier who was shipped off to fight in Angola, where the soldiers would drink beer rather than untreated water, causing Ronaldo's dad to become an alcoholic, and his alcoholism made it hard for him to hold down a job. Ronaldo had to share a room with his siblings, and the only time he could escape from his worries was when he was playing street football with makeshift goals on the dirty roads of his hometown. He would even skip meals and skip school to play street football, and was so poor that his first football was made of rags. Ronaldo would often cry when things didn't go his way, both on the pitch and off it, giving him the nickname Crybaby. But his hatred of losing meant he kept pushing himself to be a better footballer, and his father eventually found a job as a kitman for Andorinha in the 5th tier of Portuguese football, and this meant that at the age of 7, Ronaldo landed himself a spot in the youth academy, where he very quickly stood out, winning individual awards in local football tournaments and earning the nickname Abelinha, or Little B, for his small size and quick speed. And soon he would make his first transfer to Clube Desportivo Nacional, one of the biggest clubs on the island. But the transfer fee for Cristiano Ronaldo was far from the millions he would command in his later career. This transfer was just 20 footballs and some equipment for his former team. Talk about a bargain! By that time, people were starting to notice him, with his childhood friend Jose Semedo saying that at every tournament he won from the age of 10, he was named the best player, and it wasn't long before Sporting Lisbon would visit the island, set a challenge for the youth academy. The player who scores the most goals gets a spot in the academy. By the end of the match, Ronaldo was tied on goals with his friend Albert Fantao, but his friend then passed Ronaldo the ball to let him score and win the academy spot, with Fantao saying he knew Ronaldo could go all the way. So, Sporting signed Ronaldo for €1,500, and young Cristiano would have to say goodbye to his former life and move to Sporting's famous Academia de Albacete on the mainland, 1,000 kilometers away from home. But life in Lisbon was not easy, and Ronaldo was bullied by his teammates, often having physical confrontations with them as he struggled to control his emotions. Ronaldo felt homesick, and he was so poor that he even had to beg for food at his local McDonald's. He'd wait outside late at night for leftover burgers till around 11 p.m., and luckily, a few employees took pity on him and gave him some free burgers. At school, Ronaldo's classmates mocked his Madeira accent and bullied him for being different, but this only made Ronaldo even more determined to succeed, and he spent all his free time working hard to be the best footballer possible. Ronaldo was so competitive that he would race his friends to the gym, and when he'd lose, he wouldn't talk to them for days. He struggled in school though, and at one point threw a chair at a teacher who he thought had disrespected him, but this got him expelled from school, meaning he only had one option left: make it pro or live the rest of his life in poverty. His mom said if he didn't make it as a footballer, he would have become a bricklayer, and many of his coaches thought this was the best case for him, as they said he was too skinny and weak to make it as a footballer, and soon he would receive some news that would almost end his career before it got started. At age 15, Cristiano Ronaldo had a major health scare, as he was diagnosed with a rare heart condition called tachycardia, which happens when the heart beats too fast, beating at a resting rate of more than 100 beats a minute. This was devastating news for Ronaldo, as it meant he might have to quit being a footballer, but instead, Sporting made a dramatic decision to try to save his career by getting doctors to operate on the 15-year-old and use a laser to cauterize parts of his heart, and thankfully, the operation was a success, so much so that he was back on the pitch just days after surgery, and it wasn't long before his dedication finally started paying off, because when he was 16, Cristiano was promoted up through the ranks of Sporting's youth teams, becoming the first player to play with the club's under-16 team, under-17 team, under-18 team, B team, and senior team all in one season. By August 2002, he made his senior debut for Sporting in the Champions League qualifying round against Inter Milan, where he came on in the 58th minute and showed off his dribbling skills on the wing, with his raw talent being on display. His coach Ladislav Baloney thought that he was dribbling too much and that he had to fight with Ronaldo to stop him dribbling, but already Baloney could see that Ronaldo was a born competitor with a special maturity for his age, so he decided Ronaldo would stay with the senior team, and he believed that as long as he avoided injuries, he would be a very good player. Ronaldo was lightning quick and could dribble through the entire team single-handedly, but he was very skinny, weighing only 60 kilograms, meaning he was going to struggle to hold his own against big defenders. But still, Ronaldo soon made his league debut for Sporting, coming off the bench against Braga, and in his next game against Moreirense, he would start the match, and in his first start, Ronaldo would score his first and second goals for Sporting in a 3-0 win. He went on to finish that season with 11 starts in the league and 14 appearances off the bench, and with a total of 5 goals and 6 assists in all competitions, but already it was clear he was destined for bigger things. So Ronaldo's new agent Jorge Mendes started offering him around to Europe's top clubs. Barcelona rejected him, Liverpool rejected him, and the only club to show interest at this time was Arsenal, but the deal fell through, and in a few years Arsene Wenger's side would really be living to regret that. But now it wouldn't be long for Cristiano to play in one match that would change his entire life, but believe me, the struggles were far from over. Now, if you're enjoying the story so far, I promise it gets so much crazier with more drama, heartache, and ultimately glory. But first, if you really think Ronaldo is the greatest of all time, subscribe, because I think so too. And it seems like so did Sir Alex Ferguson, but at this point in the story, he just saw the raw potential, because Manchester United were keeping close tabs on Ronaldo, with assistant manager Carlos Queiroz recommending him to Alex Ferguson even before Ronaldo had made his debut. But United at this time were trying very hard to sign Ronaldinho, as he was one of the best wingers in the world, but they just couldn't get that deal over the line. It was then a pre-season friendly where United faced Sporting, where Ronaldo started and stole the show. He wasn't even supposed to play in this game, but Sporting had sold their main winger Quaresma just a week earlier, meaning he was next in line. And after the game ended, the entire Manchester United team was begging Ferguson to sign him. Michael Silvestre said, at the start, no one had even heard of Ronaldo, but by the end, everyone knew about him. So before United left Lisbon, Ferguson spoke with Ronaldo and Jorge Mendes, while the players waited on the coach for more than an hour, while Ferguson fast-tracked negotiations to make sure that no other club could sign Ronaldo before United, and it was Ferguson's personality that made Ronaldo choose to join the Red Devils, who initially planned to loan Ronaldo back to Sporting for one more season to help him develop as a footballer. But after his incredible performance, they decided to bring him straight to Manchester. This was a key decision, because Barcelona were still interested in Ronaldo, but wanted to wait one more year before signing, so eventually, when Ferguson got on the team coach and was asked by the Manchester United players if he had signed Ronaldo, Ferguson just smiled. It was just a matter of days until the deal was sealed, and Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in Manchester to sign for United for £12 million, which was at the time the most expensive fee paid by a British club for a teenage footballer, as the rise to the top was set to kick off. But the pressure was about to get so much bigger. Ronaldo had worn the number 28 shirt at Sporting and actually chose that number at United too, but Ferguson refused. He decided an 18-year-old Ronaldo was worthy of the iconic number 7 jersey, which had been worn by United legends such as George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. So immediately there were huge expectations and pressure for the 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, who said, "I was forced to live up to such an honor." But his move was so rushed and unexpected that he didn't have any time to prepare, so he arrived in Manchester unable to speak any English, and with an accent like Fergie's, communication was going to be impossible. Still, it wouldn't be long until Ronaldo made his debut for Manchester United in the first game of the season against Bolton Wanderers, and while Ronaldo started on the substitutes bench, he was brought on for the last 29 minutes of the match and played so well that Manchester United legend George Best said it was undoubtedly the most exciting debut performance I've ever seen, saying that Ronaldo was genuinely two-footed and that he dealt well with the physical side of the game, as United won 4-0 and Ronaldo won a penalty with his dribbling skills. And after the game, even no-nonsense Bolton manager Sam Allardyce was praising him, saying Ronaldo changed the game. And a few days later, he would also make his international debut for the Portugal senior team, playing the second half of a friendly match against Kazakhstan after replacing captain Luis Figo at halftime. The following month, Ronaldo would make his first Premier League start for United against Charlton Athletic, and a few days later, he would make his first start in the Champions League group stage against Stuttgart. And at that time, he was used on both the left wing and the right wing, and it was on the right wing where he would score his first Premier League goal with a free kick against Portsmouth before getting an assist a few minutes later as United won 3-0. But while Ronaldo was being praised by George Best, he was being slammed by the English media for his elaborate stepovers and a perception that he was showing off, with BBC pundit Alan Hansen saying he's got the tricks and party pieces, but they're not much good unless there's something at the end of it all. And all of Ronaldo's silky skills and dyed blonde hair made him a target for defenders who wanted to injure him, even from his first match for United, when opposition defender Nicky Hunt admitted later that, with one of his first touches, I put him on the deck. In his first season at United, Ronaldo was full of tricks but didn't score many goals or get many assists, with teammate Paul Scholes saying, he used to drive you up the wall because he's doing all these tricks and flicks, but we wanted to see people score goals and make goals. And he was still too skinny for the physical Premier League, so he used to put weights on his ankles in training to get stronger. But Scholes wasn't the only United player frustrated with Ronaldo, as Manchester United star striker Ruud van Nistelrooy was also losing patience with the Portuguese winger, saying that he had a telepathic bond with David Beckham, but after Ronaldo came in, it was different, as he would dribble everywhere and be unpredictable, and he would often berate Ronaldo in training for not crossing the ball. And eventually Van Nistelrooy got so frustrated that he exploded at Ronaldo in a verbal attack that could destroy any young player's confidence. For Ferguson, it was like Van Nistelrooy had attacked his own son, and this would prove to be the end of his career at United, as Fergie opted to protect Cristiano, shifting the Dutch striker out of the club. That's a couple of years down the line. In that first season, Cristiano only scored 6 goals and was still adapting to the English game, as Manchester United struggled throughout the season, finishing 15 points off Arsenal, who had just gone invincible. This was a transitional period for United. Beckham had left, the treble-winning team was aging, and the future of the club was being placed in 2 young superstars in Rooney and Ronaldo, both of whom were still just teenagers. Ronaldo also had an electric Euro campaign in the summer of 2004, where he made it to the final and was named in the team of the tournament, as he was now being talked about as the best young player in the world, but still, he was far from the finished article. Ronaldo started slowly in his second season at United and didn't even score a Premier League goal until December, with even Manchester United's official website saying his second term didn't quite live up to his first, and at this stage, it was unclear whether the young player would reach his full potential. Sometimes, his attempts to try to do too much on the pitch angered his manager, with Ferguson once even giving Ronaldo the famous hairdryer treatment, yelling, "Who do you think you are?" and making Ronaldo cry in the dressing room in front of his teammates. But this was because Ferguson knew Ronaldo's potential and also knew that talent alone wasn't enough, and it's this tough love that would help Cristiano become a great, as Sir Alex forced him to confront his weaknesses and work even harder to be the best. But whilst trying to make it in Manchester, life was about to get a lot harder for Cristiano. At the start of his third season at United, while on international duty, Portugal head coach Luis Felipe Scolari had to pass on some terrible news that Ronaldo's father had passed away. Scolari said nobody knew how to tell him, and nobody wanted to. So, Scolari had to break the news to Ronaldo, who was determined to play despite the heartbreaking news, and said, "I can't do anything for my father today, so I'll play tomorrow." Just 20 years old at the time, Ronaldo had to deal with the death of his father, who, after a lifetime of drinking, passed away from a liver problem in 2005. And although Ronaldo said, "I never really knew him well," he would have liked to know him better, and has struggled to talk about the subject, even breaking down in tears on TV when seeing a video of his late father telling him how proud he was of him. And he has said he keeps his father's ashes with him at his house and talks to them all the time to help him be a better person. That third season at Old Trafford, Ronaldo again started slowly and was letting his frustrations get the better of him, as he was also banned for one match by UEFA for showing his middle finger to Benfica fans who abused him at a Champions League match, with Ronaldo saying, "There's nothing to justify the way the crowd treated me." But after that, he hit a purple patch in February, scoring 5 goals in 3 games, and finished the season with 12 goals overall, as United finished second behind Chelsea. And Ronaldo's form was starting to become more consistent, but it wasn't enough for Ruud van Nistelrooy, whose frustrations at Ronaldo caused him to lose his temper in training one day and shout, "What are you going to do? Complain to your daddy?" Which, although it was referring to United coach Carlos Queiroz, still reminded Ronaldo of his father's death 8 months earlier, failure that caused him to break down in tears. And that incident was the last straw, as Ferguson decided the two couldn't play together and decided to sell Van Nistelrooy to Real Madrid that summer. So Ronaldo would have to instead build a partnership with Wayne Rooney, and that was put in jeopardy that summer at the World Cup in an incident that would make Cristiano Ronaldo become the most hated man in England. Portugal started the World Cup with 3 wins in Group D, and Ronaldo became the youngest player to score for Portugal at the World Cup when he scored a penalty against Iran. A win against the Netherlands set up a quarterfinal showdown against England in an extremely tight game that went in Portugal's favor and was sent off. But Ronaldo was one of the Portuguese players trying to get the referee to send Rooney off, and then a TV camera caught him winking at the Portuguese bench, causing English media to suggest he had influenced the referee. And after Portugal beat England on penalties, anger against Ronaldo was so high that one newspaper even published a dartboard with his face on it and reported that Rooney would snap Ronaldo in two the next time they trained together. Ronaldo was so unhappy in England at that point that he even told a Portuguese newspaper, "I don't want to stay in England," but his teammates at United had his back, with Rooney already talking to Ronaldo after the game and understanding why Ronaldo tried to get him sent off, saying that he would do the same, so he told Ronaldo good luck for the rest of the tournament. And when Ronaldo returned to United after the summer, he was a changed man and had even grown stronger in the summer by hitting the gym. And when he was back at Manchester United's Carrington training ground, Rooney said, "This is in the past. Let's speak about the present. Let's win trophies together." And that season, even though fans booed him at every Premier League stadium he visited, Cristiano Ronaldo had his best season so far, scoring 23 goals, including 6 in 3 games in December, as Manchester United won the Premier League for the first time in 4 years. But that wasn't enough for Ronaldo, who wanted to be even better, and even told United coach Rene Meulensteen that he wanted to be the best player in the world. So he analyzed video clips and worked on how to improve his striking ability, spending hours working on his positioning and his finishing from all different angles, and also developed his legendary free kick technique. Meulensteen said Ronaldo always wanted to score the perfect goal, a 25-yard shot into the top corner, but he made Ronaldo work on shooting from other places and set him a target of 40 goals for the next season, almost double what he had scored the season before. And now, here we are, entering the greatest individual season in Premier League history, the version of Cristiano Ronaldo that lives in the heart of all football fans around the world. What a year! Some people forget that Ronaldo actually had a slow start to this season. He got a red card in the second game of the season for headbutting an opponent. Even when he came back from his ban, he didn't score until the last game of September. But then, he hit the best form of his career so far and smashed his target of 40 goals by scoring 42 goals that season and also getting 8 assists, giving him 50 goal contributions in 49 games, which for a striker is incredible. But Ronaldo wasn't even playing as a striker. He was still playing as a winger in a 4-4-2, which made that feat even more unbelievable. United went neck and neck with Chelsea in the Premier League, but even the strength of Chelsea couldn't stop Ronaldo, whose stunning partnership with Rooney tore teams to shreds, like Aston Villa, who United beat 4-0 with Ronaldo scoring with a back heel. And the battle between United and Chelsea went back and forth, with United second until March, when they took the top spot and held on with Chelsea right behind them, until Ronaldo scored a penalty on the final day of the season to seal their second Premier League title in a row. But this season got even more magical once we look at Europe. That season, Ronaldo scored one of his trademark headers against Roma in the Champions League quarterfinals, seemingly defying gravity. Then, in the semifinals against Barcelona, Ronaldo had the chance to give United the lead, but he missed a penalty. But United won the second leg 1-0 to reach the Champions League final in Moscow, where they faced Chelsea. And Ronaldo scored the opening goal for United with another towering header. Frank Lampard equalized. Ronaldo missed his penalty, giving John Terry the chance to win the match for Chelsea. But God was on Ronaldo's side, as he slipped and missed his spot kick too. And then Nicolas Anelka also missed for as the United players partied the night away. Ronaldo was back in the training pitch the very next day, because for him, this was only the start. Ronaldo's incredible performances that season would see him win the FIFA World Player of the Year award and also his first Ballon d'Or, where he would beat Lionel Messi and Liverpool's Fernando Torres. He also picked up pretty much every individual award you can think of in England, as he was named the best football player in the world. But despite being a hero at Old Trafford, Ronaldo was dreaming of the Bernabeu and even openly told his teammates he wanted to leave, saying he had been at United for long enough, and even suggested that United forcing him to stay was like slavery. And Manchester United made him train in a white training bib, as he wanted to wear the white of Real Madrid so badly, but they refused to sell him that summer. And Ronaldo said that while he wanted a new challenge, he would put his heart and soul into Manchester United for one more year. But all his hard work on the training ground had caused damage to his cartilage in his right ankle, and he needed surgery. So he ended up missing missing the start of the 2008-09 season, and United struggled without him, losing in the Community Shield and Super Cup and dropping to 15th place in the league. But when he came back, he scored 8 goals in 8 games to fire United up the table, and by January, United were top of the league, where they would stay until the end of the season to win their 3rd Premier League title in a row thanks to 18 league goals and 7 assists from CR7. But it was the Champions League where Ronaldo would perform his real magic in the quarterfinals against Porto, where fans were booing the former Sporting player. He hit a shot from 40 yards out at an incredible 64 miles per hour right into the top corner to win the game for United and win Ronaldo the Puskás Award for the best goal of the year by any player in the world. He would then score twice in the semi-final against Arsenal to set up a final against Barcelona and a showdown against Lionel Messi in the only time the pair faced each other in the Champions League final. But unfortunately, it was Messi who was victorious on the night, with Barcelona winning 2-0 and Messi also winning that year's Ballon d'Or, with Ronaldo finishing second, as this game could be seen as the beginning of a decade-long battle between the pair. Following this final defeat, Cristiano Ronaldo managed to get the move to Real Madrid he had been longing for, and this did not come cheap, as they forked out a world record 94 million euros to make Ronaldo the most expensive and best played football player in the world. So, after 7 years at Old Trafford and going from a skinny show pony to the best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo said goodbye to Sir Alex and left the club that would forever hold a special place in his heart. But as you know, Ronaldo's story does not end here, and in fact, it's only just getting started.